Hello everybody, this is Wolf Guardian here, and today we're actually going to be doing a different kind of YouTube video. Today we are going to be explaining the lore behind We Are Number One. Yes, you heard me, the lore behind the big meme, the famous video We Are Number One. Many of you might not even know this, but Lazy Town was a children's video originally. Now, let me get my lore voice on. So, as many of you may not know, Lazy Town is actually a kids show, and it did air on TV. Loads of kids loved this show and thought it was the best thing ever. The main character, the hero, was Sportacus. No, not to be confused with the gladiator hero Spartacus, but rather Sportacus, their version of a nicer Spartacus. Spartacus that's a hero that enjoys playing sports. Ironic, really, how Sportacus enjoys sports, and Spartacus was a gladiator. Well, anyways, so what happens in this video, as many of you may have already seen, is they sing a song, and Robbie Ray, or whatever his name is, shows you how to be a villain. He's showing his henchmen, as a matter of fact, and he breaks off in a song and dance, telling them how they are number one, and how to be a villain. But the reality is that most of this video is actually edited, which you may not know already. A lot of it is just highlights from the original episode, and they put the full song in, of course. Now, I cannot tell you for sure if it is an extended version of the song, but I can tell you that most of it was an edited version. Now, the main story about the episode that did air on Lazy Town, it starts off, a man requires an apple, and he is trying to find an apple for, assumedly, his wife. There is a girl dressed in pink, and a guy in a suit. They are traveling, and they see what's going down, and they think, hey, this is a job for the spy club. Now, as I assume, they are in a spy club, as they had said, and they are wanting to help people, so they offer help on finding an apple. Now, once they offer this help, find the apple, they go and search. They find a tree and they see an apple in it, but they also see Robbie. Robbie is setting up a trap. Robbie has set up a cage, and he is putting the leaves down and branches down in hopes that he may finally catch the hero, Sportacus. Agent Pink, which is her name, yes, sees him, and she asks what's going on. The man in the suit looks, and he says, well, I don't know. He says he's gathering branches, leaves, and he has a cage. What is he doing? Agent Pink replies with, I have no idea, but it seems that he is up to something. They say that they should investigate. So they go over and they investigate. They ask Robbie, what are you doing? And he says, he asks, what do you mean? And they say, what are you doing with that cage? And he says, what? And they simply say, cage. And he says, oh, yes. In what seems to be a moment of realization. And he says, well, I am trying to catch the world's biggest invisible bird. Of course, for some reason, they buy this. Bear with me here. And they say, oh, well, would you like any help, Mr. Robbie? And he says, no, thank you. And he says it a little suspiciously. But they don't care. They say, are you sure? 3 is better than 1. And he says, no, I'm sure. And then there's a moment of silence. And in this moment of silence, they look all awkwardly at each other. Then he says, don't you have somewhere to be? And they say, sure. And then they leave with a suspicious look in their eye. So as they leave, he finishes setting up his trap. But then he falls in. Angrily, he comes up and he says that he cannot do this, and that he would need help. Then he says, "Aha, I have an idea. I will get some help." Oh, I have the most brilliant ideas. When obviously this idea was not his, but as a matter of fact, it was Agent Pink's. He is a villain though, so he will claim it to be his own. And so he goes into his secret lair, and he uses his phone. He seems to be on something like Amazon or whatever, and he asks if he can order a villain. And they ask, well, what kind of villain would you like to order? And he says, what kind? And then he says, well, I suppose you don't have any like me. And then he makes a face and he says, wait, you do? And he says, wonderful, I'll have one. And then he says, wait a minute. And then he reflects on what Agent Pink had said. 3 is better than 1. And he says, oh, I will take 3. And he says, I want fast shipping on that too. And immediately, 3 villains that look like him, that you see in the video, all come down the chute. And after they do, he looks amazed. And they tell him, they say, hello boss. We usually do things like malls and openings and parties. Obviously these guys had no idea what was in store for them. And in reality, they're just those kinds of people that you hire to open your store or announce the grand reopening of your burger restaurant. You know, that sort of thing. Anyways. So, he says, great, we need to catch him. And they all look confused. They ask who? And he starts talking about Sportacus, calling him names, Flippy Jappy, Kangaroo, things like that. So, they naturally assume they're trying to catch a blue kangaroo. He gets angry at them, and after getting angry, he asks them, are you a real villain? And one of them says, nah. And of course, the video continues as you've all seen. Of course, with some of the parts written out. As you may not know, the part at the end with the cannon, that's actually part of the end of the episode, not part of the song. They do the song, and they end it. They capture Sportacus, and this is not part of the song, actually. He crosses the road, and he crosses it as an old lady. Sportacus helps him, and he gives him an apple. The apple poisons him. What you don't know is it was not just a poisoned apple, it was actually, in fact, an apple filled with tons of sugar. This sugar was intended to give him a huge sugar rush and knock him out, which it did perfectly. They capture him, and after capturing him, they bring him down to the lair. He tells his henchmen that they need to watch him, and that he doesn't know what to do with him because it's the first time he's actually ever caught in him. So, they go down, and he tells him that he will give them a signal. He tells them to be careful not to fall asleep, and he warns them thoroughly about this. They say, okay boss, and they go down to the secret lair that you have seen already in the video. Now then, as they are doing this, they are talking, and one of them says, alright, now we cannot fall asleep. I am watching you. And he says this multiple times about the fact that he is watching them. And eventually, they do fall asleep. As you've seen in the video, the apple falls down the pipe because Agent Pink overhears their conversation and sends an apple down. But this apple is not filled with sugar. So, Sportacus eats the apple and is revitalized. He comes back, and he looks, and he sees the villains, the henchmen. They wake up, and they say how bored they are, and how they wish they were doing something, like moving around. And he overhears them, and he says, have you ever heard of sports? Now, as you may not imagine, Sportacus actually has a certain accent. Now, never mind this for now. And they say no. What are sports? They ask. Obviously a silly question. Sportacus looks at them and he says, why, sports are one of my favorite things to do. And come on, let's try. And they're like, yeah, and they seem excited and happy about this. And he says, but I am kind of stuck in this cage. And so he asks them to take him out. They say, well, it is kind of locked. And he breaks the lock on the cage, and they open the cage door. Now you may be asking, why didn't he just get out before? But perhaps he is trying to befriend the henchmen. Turn them back to the good side, I guess you could say. So he does this, and they begin to play ball in the secret lair. And where did he get the ball, you may be asking? Well, he pulls a miniature ball out of his pocket, and he throws it up in the air, like the superhero he is. He takes the ball gets big, and then it drops down, and they start kicking it around. Then he says, you know what's even better than playing sports? He said, going outside and playing sports. And they all agree on this. Meanwhile, Robbie has made a cannon, and he is testing it out. He's planning to launch Sportacus all the way out of town, but he doesn't realize that Sportacus has befriended the henchmen. Now then, the henchmen are out, and they're playing ball, all of them playing soccer. And Robbie sees them. He can't see them well, so he climbs up onto the fence, just where Agent Pink is, but he doesn't seem to notice her. He looks over and he notices that his henchmen, that he ordered from some mysterious place, have actually befriended Sportacus. And so, he gets angry, and he kicks a bucket, and he says, what are you doing? And they don't seem to hear him, but the bucket, it hits the cannon, and he had set the cannon afire within 15 seconds. But then the cannon malfunctions and fires right then. When the cannon fires, he turns around and realizes that it's firing because it makes a beeping noise. And he sees the fact that it's fired, and he gasps. The cannon fires and it hits him, and he goes flying into the air. Then Sportacus seems to have something on his chest that notifies him when somebody is in trouble. He looks at it and says, oh no, someone's in trouble. Agent Pink comes out and she says, it's Robbie. And so, they all look up and see him flying way across town. Sportacus says, come on, let's go, we need to save him. Like the valorous hero that he is, saving even his arch-nemesis from certain doom. They go and they run, and they run and chase him, until finally they find the yard where the man who wanted the apples is waiting. He's playing music to occupy his wife, and he is waiting for them. He sees them come in and he's like, ah, there you are, and then is suddenly cut off. He is cut off by the fact that Sportacus is there, a superhero, in his lawn, and he realizes that they're trying to save Robbie. They go over to the rack that is hanging clothes to dry, and they grab a huge white sheet. Both Sportacus and Agent Pink decide to hold out the sheet to cushion Robbie's fall. They do so, and Robbie falls right into the white sheet and is cushioned by his fall. Sportacus looks at him and smiles and says, you're welcome, Robbie, and hands him the cannonball, in which Robbie is then having troubles with carrying. And that is the end of the episode, where they all sing a song and dance, and it was a happy ending. Now what you make of this story is all up to you, but it seems that the clear moral of the story is more, it's not fun to be evil. It's not fun to be a villain. It's more fun to be a good guy. To be like Sportacus and enjoy sports. anyways, that would be the lore for We Are Number One, that, you know, really famous meme all over the internet and whatnot. And I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, please leave a like. Subscribe to my channel. I will be putting out more content. I know I haven't put out much content lately, but some stuff's been going on that I really need to take care of. And I'm just kind of not on as often now. But I'm getting back on track with things, you know. YouTube and Google and social media and whatever, you know, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, I should be coming out with more videos. I did want to try something new to see what you guys would think of it. And this one was, of course, a lore video on We Are Number One. And if you're wondering, yes, all of the lore that I came up with, it wasn't just me interpreting what happened. It's actually how the story went. You can search it up for yourself. Should be on YouTube. There's probably a video on there. That's where I found it. And it was the full episode, and I decided to watch it so that I could make a lore video. I was pretty sure it would get me some good views, who knows. Anyways, but yeah, like I said, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and tell me how you guys, what you guys think. Tell me if you guys want more of this, and if this video does well, I might actually begin doing more lore things, you know, but of course it'll be funny lore things. It won't be like Dark Souls lore. I'll leave that to Vitavidia. Probably be just lore behind the memes and whatnot. But yeah, anyways, if you guys did enjoy it, please let me know, because I will do more of these videos if you let me know. And it is always the best when you guys let me know, like, things like, you know, when I play Dark Souls, that's your favorite kind of videos, or whenever I play Black Ops, you like that, or like the background gameplay I have right back here, you like that kind of stuff. Really, your guys' feedback ultimately depend on what I do. Right now, I'm just mainly experimenting to see what you guys do like, and what you don't like, and what gets the most views, and some feedback would be awesome. So if you guys got any feedback on what to do, constructive criticism, you know, etc., post it down in the comments. I would love to hear it. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Peace.